In the heart of a bustling West African city lived a young woman named Fumi. Born into a modest family, Fumi was beautiful, intelligent, and full of life. However, her life took a sharp turn when she fell in love with Sul, the son of a wealthy and influential family. Sul was captivated by Fumi's charm, and despite the vast differences in their social standings, he proposed to her. Fumi, deeply in love, accepted. However, Sul's family, particularly his mother, Madame Odeola, and his sister, Kemi, were not pleased with his choice. They had other plans for him, intending to marry him off to a woman of equal social status. Madame Odeola viewed Fumi as nothing more than a gold digger, while Kemi saw her as a threat to her close relationship with her brother. Despite their objections, Sul was determined to marry Fumi, setting the stage for a tumultuous journey. The wedding took place in a grand ceremony, but it was far from a joyous occasion for Fumi. Though Sul's love for her was evident, the cold stares and whispered insults from his family members made her feel out of place. Madame Odeola made it clear that Fumi was not welcome, while Kemi went out of her way to make Fumi's life difficult. After the wedding, Fumi moved into Sul's family home, a sprawling mansion filled with opulence but devoid of warmth. Madame Odeola and Kemi treated her with disdain, often ignoring her or giving her menial tasks to belittle her. Sul, caught between his love for Fumi and his loyalty to his family, struggled to protect her from their cruelty. As the days turned into weeks, Fumi found herself increasingly isolated. Madame Odeola and Kemi ensured that she was excluded from family gatherings and social events. They spread rumors about her among their social circle, painting her as an opportunist who had trapped Sul into marriage. The servants in the house, loyal to Madame Odeola, also treated Fumi with disrespect, further deepening her sense of loneliness. Sul, busy with his work and often away on business trips, was unaware of the full extent of Fumi's suffering. Whenever he was home, his mother and sister would put on a facade of civility, making it difficult for Fumi to confide in him. The once vibrant and happy Fumi began to wither under the weight of her in-laws' hatred, feeling as though she had lost herself in the process. One evening, after yet another day of enduring the cold treatment from her in-laws, Fumi decided to take a walk in the garden to clear her mind. The garden was a vast, beautiful space that she had rarely explored since moving in. As she wandered through the manicured paths, she came across a secluded area filled with vibrant flowers and a small, serene pond. It was there that she met Daniel, the family's gardener. Daniel was a kind and gentle soul, who had worked for the family for many years. Unlike the others, he treated Fumi with respect and kindness. They struck up a conversation, and Fumi found herself opening up to him about her struggles. Daniel listened patiently, offering her words of comfort and advice. Over time, their encounters in the garden became a regular occurrence, and Fumi began to look forward to their talks. For the first time in months, she felt a glimmer of hope. As Fumi and Daniel's friendship blossomed, she began to regain her strength and confidence. Daniel's presence in her life became a source of solace and support. He encouraged her to pursue her own interests and reminded her of the vibrant woman she had been before her marriage. Fumi took his advice to heart and began to reclaim her sense of self. She started painting again, a hobby she had abandoned after her marriage, and even enrolled in a local art class. The more time she spent with Daniel, the more she realized how much she had missed being valued and appreciated for who she truly was. However, as their bond grew stronger, it did not go unnoticed by Madame Odeola and Kemi, who began to suspect that there was more than just friendship between Fumi and Daniel. Madame Odeola, driven by her hatred for Fumi and her growing suspicions, decided to confront her. She accused Fumi of having an affair with Daniel, using their frequent meetings in the garden as evidence. The accusation was scandalous, and Madame Odeola wasted no time in spreading the rumor throughout their social circle. Sul was devastated when he heard the accusations. Though he loved Fumi, the seed of doubt had been planted, and he began to question her loyalty. Fumi, hurt and betrayed, tried to defend herself, but the damage had already been done. The once private tension within the family became a public scandal, with people taking sides and gossiping about the supposed affair. The scandal took its toll on Fumi. The constant whispers, the cold stares from the servants, and Sue's growing distance pushed her to her breaking point. She felt trapped, with no one to turn to for support. Even Daniel, who had been her only source of comfort, was now the subject of gossip and suspicion. Feeling completely alone, Fumi made the difficult decision to leave Sul and the toxic environment of his family home. She packed her bags and left in the middle of the night, leaving behind a note for Sul explaining her reasons. As she walked away from the mansion, she felt a mix of relief and sorrow, knowing that she was stepping into an uncertain future but also freeing herself from a life of misery. Fumi found herself in a small, modest apartment on the other side of the city. The apartment was nothing like the lavish mansion she had left behind, but it was her own space, a place where she could start fresh without the oppressive weight of her in-laws' judgment. Fumi embraced her new life with renewed vigor. She threw herself into her art, finding solace and expression in her creativity. She also reconnected with old friends who welcomed her with open arms, offering her the support and companionship she had sorely missed. Over time, Fumi's artwork gained attention, and she was invited to exhibit her pieces at a local gallery. The exhibition was a success, with many praising her talent and resilience. Slowly but surely, Fumi began to rebuild her life, finding joy in her independence and in the friendships she had rekindled. Though the pain of her past lingered, she was determined to move forward. Several months later, while preparing for her next art exhibition, Fumi received an unexpected visitor, Su. He had tracked her down after realizing the truth about the situation. Su had confronted his mother and sister, uncovering the extent of their manipulation and lies. Deeply remorseful for doubting Fumi and for not standing up for her when she needed him most, Su had come to beg for her forgiveness. The reunion was emotional. Fumi was taken aback by Su's sudden appearance and his heartfelt apology. While she still loved him, the wounds from their past were deep, and she wasn't sure if they could be healed. Su, on the other hand, was determined to win her back, promising to cut ties with his toxic family and to support her in every way possible. The decision was not an easy one for Fumi, who had finally found peace in her new life. Fumi spent days reflecting on Su's apology and his promises. She sought advice from Daniel, who had remained a loyal friend, and from her art community, who had become like a second family to her. Ultimately, Fumi decided to give Su another chance, but on her terms. She made it clear that she would never return to his family home and that their relationship would have to be based on mutual respect and independence. Su, realizing the depth of his love for Fumi and understanding the mistakes he had made, agreed to her conditions without hesitation. They decided to rebuild their relationship from the ground up, away from the toxic influence of his family. Together, they found a new home, one that they could fill with love, creativity, and new memories. As they began this new chapter of their lives, Fumi and Su discovered that love could indeed flourish in the most unexpected places, even after enduring the darkest of times. Their story became a testament to the power of forgiveness, resilience, and the courage to stand up for one's happiness. Despite their newfound happiness, the shadows of the past were not entirely gone. Madame Odeola, unable to accept her son's decision to stay with Fumi, made one last attempt to break them apart. She confronted Fumi at her art exhibition, causing a scene in front of the attendees. Madame Odeola accused Fumi of stealing her son and ruining their family's reputation. The confrontation was intense, with Madame Odeola's anger on full display. However, this time, Fumi was not alone. Su, who had anticipated his mother's actions, stood by Fumi's side. He publicly denounced his mother's behavior and defended Fumi, making it clear that he would no longer tolerate any interference in their lives. The confrontation ended with Madame Odiola storming out, finally realizing that she had lost her son's respect and that her influence over him was gone. With the final confrontation behind them, Fumi and Sul were free to focus entirely on their future. They continued to build their life together, supporting each other's dreams and ambitions. Fumi's art career flourished, and she became known not just for her talent, but for her inspiring story of resilience and love. Sul, true to his word, became her biggest supporter, often attending her exhibitions and proudly sharing her work with the world. As time went on, the love between Fumi and Sul grew stronger, built on a foundation of trust, respect, and understanding. They faced challenges, but none as formidable as those they had already overcome. Together, they proved that true love could survive even the harshest of trials, and that happiness could be found even in the most hopeless of places. Years later, Fumi and Sul's story became something of a legend in their community. Their journey from the depths of despair to the heights of love and success inspired many. Fumi's art continued to thrive, with her works being exhibited internationally, and Sul became a respected figure in his own right, known for his integrity and dedication to his wife. They had children, who grew up hearing the story of how their parents overcame incredible odds to be together. Fumi and Sul instilled in them the values of resilience, love, and the importance of standing up for oneself. Their children, proud of their parents' legacy, carried these lessons into their own lives. The community that once gossiped about them now looked up to them, and their story was passed down through generations as a tale of love that truly conquered all. I hope you enjoyed and learned something from this story. The community that once gossiped about them now looked up to them, comment and their story was passed down through generations as a tale of love that truly conquered all.